Hi everyone, I'm Adrienne. Welcome to yoga. I'm just going to get situated a little bit further away from the camera than usual today, so bear with me. But in the meantime, grab a glass of water. Any props that you like to use while you are moving around, so that can be pillows. If you have exercise or yoga blocks, if you like the feeling of blocks but don't have them, a stack of books is useful. And maybe a blanket that you can fold. We're going to do a lot of twisting today, and so we'll be on our feet and seated quite a bit, so I think maybe something comfortable to sit on would be helpful. All right, so we'll get started, like I said, seated. You can grab that pillow, place it under the seat. You can be cross-legged as I am, or you can have legs out in front of you. You can have them tucked underneath and sit on the shins. You can lay on your back if you like, if that's most comfortable. Close down the eyes or soften the eyelids. Cast the gaze down towards the floor. Tuck the chin slightly so you feel the lengthening in the back of the neck. Notice if your shoulders are shrugging up towards your ears, and maybe give them a little shake, and then let them be heavy. Let them slide down the back. So all the while, we are letting the shoulders be heavy while holding the spine upright, as if we're being pulled from the top of our head. But then we have a firm rootedness, a heaviness at the bottom of the spine, at the tailbone, pelvis. Both ends of the spine are pulling away from one another to straighten us out, to stack. Support that extra length by engaging the low belly muscles slightly. Notice if your bottommost ribs are kind of flaring out. If they are, you probably are also sitting into the low back, so you have a deep curve in the low back. If you pull those low ribs in slightly, so they're more underneath the heart and the chest, you might also realize that that sag in the low back disappears a bit too. Now that we're pretty stacked, let the hands rest face down on the thighs, on the knees. Let the elbows be heavy now. So now you have the shoulders being pulled down by the weight of the elbows. And now just bring your attention to the feeling of your breath. You can start today noticing the sensation of the air coming in and leaving the nostrils. So we'll start up high at the nose. Can you feel even a gentle rush of air being pulled in through the nose as you breathe in, and then as it grazes the nostrils as it escapes the lungs? Maybe you notice the feeling of the breath in the back of the throat as it enters the windpipe. You notice the chest rising and falling with each breath in and out. Picture the chest as if it's floating, bobbing in the waves of the breath. And let the seas be easy. So Even if the waves feel kind of choppy to start, see if we can slow and smooth them down. Not to flatness, of course, then we wouldn't be breathing. Just an even in and out and ebbing and flowing. Now draw your attention to the back body, so the back of the lungs, the back of the heart. Noticing the chest inflate, the back side of the torso inflate, the back and sides of the ribs expand as you inhale, and then soften and contract as you exhale. Just noticing all the different ways breathing in and out manipulates, even unintentionally, so many parts of the body. And then lastly, lastly, shift that attention down to the belly, all the way down. You can let the belly be loose and even kind of saggy. So for a moment, let each breath in push the belly out. That expansion of the diaphragm allows the lungs to open up further down. Pull in more breath. And just relaxing on the exhale, let the breath escape so we can pull in fresh air after. So stay with that belly breath. So still pulling the breath through the nostrils, down the windpipe, and then dumping into the lungs. Push out the belly to pull the breath all the way deep down into the lowest chamber of the lungs. Do that a few times on your own. Maybe you're noticing change in your feelings, your sensations physically. Maybe you feel a little bit of relief for the distraction. All right, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears and then roll them together and down the back. Do it a few more times. You can open up the eyes now, gradually. We're not going anywhere yet, but use this shoulder rolling up and back to reacquaint us with the outer world. All right, and then we'll do some rolls forward. So draw the shoulders up to the ears, but this time roll the shoulders forward and back, and you can throw the arms and the elbows into the mix like I am if you like. Don't have to, but it might help you feel the whole circular motion, full range of motion as best as your body allows. All right, place the left hand on the floor. It can be fingertips or it can be a flat palm. It can also be stacked on a book or a block. Right arm up directly overhead. All right, so we're trying to keep both hips firmly on the ground or on the pillow, just even side by side. I'm going to reach up through those right fingertips, getting as tall as we have been. You can pull those low ribs back in, everything stacked one on top of the other. And then we're going to tilt to the left, staying straight in the arms, straight in the spine. Starting to bend and open up the right side body. If your left hand makes contact with the floor, push the floor away. So encouraging the underside, the left side of the ribs to curve. And look under your right armpit. You can release the chin from your chest. Maybe turn it up towards the ceiling, right side ceiling. Creating a little space between the chin and the chest. Keep reaching out through that right arm. Feel the stretch originating from the right hip, shooting all the way through the right shoulder and out through the right fingertips. Take one more breath to get as long as you can. And then exhale, press the floor away on the left side, and we'll go to the other. So this time on the ground, the right fingertips or palms on the right outer side of the right hip. Shoot that left arm straight up in the air, thumb facing back, the pinky facing forward. Take care that both your hips are evenly placed side by side. And again, reminder, maybe pull those low ribs in. Take the bend out of the low back. Turn on the ab muscles. Just get really stacked and really tall. Take a deep breath in to get tall as ever. And exhale, tilt to the right. Taking care to keep the chest open by maybe pulling the left shoulder up and back. Okay. If your right hand is on the floor, press the right as the underside of your ribs. Work to straighten that left arm so you experience the bend and the stretch from the left hip through the left ribs, opening the left shoulder, and then the line of energy passes all the way out through the left fingertips. Tilt the chin up and to the left, lifting the chin slightly between it and your chest. Take one more breath, get long. Exhale, push the floor away right side. Let both arms rest on either side. Shake out the shoulders. Do a little bit of rotation side to side. The arms can float. We're still waking up, so you don't need to be too aggressive, too forceful in this rotation. We will get to it. So I mentioned we'll be doing some twisting today. Here is baby steps to get started. All right. Come to stillness, and we're going to just shift back off of your pillow if you were sitting on it. And we're going to take a kneeling position, standing kneeling. So come up onto the shins. I'll face sideways so you can see a little bit. If it's possible, untuck the toes. So you have the whole top of side of the foot pressing down into the floor. Take a look down at your knees and see if you can place them more or less directly underneath the bony parts of your hips. Okay? And if that doesn't feel good, if that feels too close together, take it further. But it would probably feel better to be further apart than it is to be cinched really close together, because then you don't have any space and your butt cheeks are clenching really hard. It's not going to feel good. So we want some space between the thighs. All right, gaze back at the feet. Take care that they are shooting out from the knee, each knee on each side. And then tension back to the front. See if you can engage the glutes, the butt muscles, to push the hips forward. So you see when I do that, I go from a kind of bent abdomen area to straighter. So I have more of a line down the front side of my body. And the same cues apply here. I'm sorry they're not going to go away, for this at least. Everyone relax. But for now, we're ramping up engagement. So I'm going to ask you to put a hand on lower area. See if I let go of those little ribs, let them flare out forward. Low back sticking out. Let's push everything towards one line in the middle. Okay. Inhale, shoot the arms up on either side of the ears. Long line from the knees, straight out through the fingertips. Thumbs are facing back. And now pull those thumbs back. So your upper arms are moving backwards in space, moving towards the back side of the head. One day. And we'll just take some breaths here. So same effort working to even out and deepen, elongate the breath. So even though we're still pushing the hips forward, engaging the glutes, engaging the hamstrings, so pulling the low ribs in, feeling the abdominal muscles working. Still pulling our shoulder blades down to create space above the shoulders and below the ears. And still engaging the arms to straighten them. How can we create a supportive breath that isn't distracting from that effort? So let's take 5 more breaths, that is. See if each one can be slightly before it. Again, feel the chest rising and falling like it's bobbing in a very slow moving tide. Bobbing in the slow waves. Pressing down in the top of the feet. Down in the shins. All right. We're going to turn the palms to face forward. Arms are still up overhead. Now just bend the elbows, pull the shoulder blades and the elbows towards one another on the back side of the body. So you have kind of like cactus arms or goalposts. Elbows are even lower than your shoulders. And pull the hands, the forearms, and the elbows back. The line of those forearms and hands is gradually moving backwards in space behind the placement of your chest and your thighs. So that line from knees to head is in front of the arms. Keep pulling the shoulder blades together. And then we're going to tilt the hands down. So we're going to rotate, elbows come up, fingertips come to parallel with the floor. So this is our halfway point. And then we're going to keep rotating, elbows on top, fingertips below, underneath. And then start to push the palms backwards. Okay, so the diagonal is now going to go backwards behind you, all right? Keep the elbows bent though. All right, so this is our full range of motion. It might not look exactly like mine does, all right? But we're just going to move slowly, trying to keep shoulder blades pinched, trying to keep shoulders down as we rotate palms up. And then pull the palms, forearms behind the line of the front body. And now tilt, hands down like you're pushing through peanut butter air. Palms face behind you. Just a few more times. The top of the hand pushes up through the peanut butter air. Elbows start to come down. Pinch everything behind the body. And one more time. Palms go down. Elbows start to rotate up. Fingertips down. And we got that back diagonal. All right. One more time, we're just going to come to parallel, fingertips tilt forward, elbows tilt back, hold the center, pinch your shoulder blades together, pull the elbows back. All right, shake out the arms. Let those shoulders rest. And we'll keep going. All right, one of my favorite things to do, because it's hard, is to work towards straightening my arms behind me. So we're going to clasp our hands in a fist behind us. You can have your elbows nice and bent, and let that fist sit somewhere on the sacral area. So that's the flat, bony part above the pelvis. If it doesn't get that far down, that's okay too. But before we work to straighten the arms, I'm going to do the same type of action. Pull the shoulder blades together. Feel the shoulder blades drawing the elbows back as well. So elbows go back and towards one another on the back body. If the shoulders shrugged up towards the ears, see if you can pull them down. Reminder to pull in the lower ribs as much as you can. We're still in that structured kneeling position, so keep pushing the hips forward. Take a few breaths here. This is our halfway point. All right, so elbows pointing back, shoulder blades cinched. Collarbones are starting to broaden across the front of the chest. All right, now we're going to work towards straightening the arms in the fist. So first you're going to lift the fist away from the back, from the pelvis, all right? Elbows still bent. Shoulder blades still clenched. And then draw the fist down. Elbows still pointing back. Shoulder blades still cinched together. And the fist is gradually moving down, and the arms straighten out slightly. Tuck the chin. Let that fist be super heavy. So we're forming this long line from the top of the head down to that fist. Keep gripping the arms, the elbows, the shoulder blades together on the back. Take one deep breath in and hold it. Exhale out the mouth. Feel that fist drop down towards the feet. One more. Inhale. Chest puffs up. Exhale. Pull the elbows, shoulders together. Fist drops toward the feet. All right, unclench the hands, shake everything out. Sit back slowly onto the feet. Give the shins and knees a break. I should have reminded you that it's always a nice idea to provide some padding to whatever's going to be touching the floor, especially if it's for a long time like that. So I apologize. If you have a blanket or a towel that you want to lay down on the mat for something like, something like kneeling, or for something like this tabletop position, then please feel welcome to do that. So once your break hanging out on your feet, on your shins is over, we are going to come forward into a tabletop position. So take a look at the placement of your wrists and your knees and see if we can walk them so that your knees are under your hips and your wrists are under your shoulders. Spread the fingertips nice and wide, trying to make a lot of contact with the whole underside, the whole palm of the hand. Press as much as you can into that index finger and thumb. And we're going to pull the shoulder blades down away from the ears. It's easy to shrug everything up. So pull the shoulder blades down the back, feeling a lot of space around the neck and the ears. I'm going to pull the low belly in slightly, so we're just getting a stable, neutral, straight spine. Okay? And toes can be tucked, or they can be tops of the feet flat down on the mat. I guess you can't see that with my pillow, sorry. All right, I'm just going to do a little bit of cat and cow for warm up. So drop the belly, feel the hips, the tailbone tilt upwards, gaze go upwards. You're making a U shape with the back. Press the floor away, straighten the arms, rotate the elbows towards one another and forward. This can be your big inhale. We're kind of holding, so you're welcome to breathe easily in and out. Maybe you wag the tail, shake the hips side to side, holding this U position for a second. And then after a few breaths, we're going to invert that U, taking kind of like a lowercase n shape, curving the spine up towards the ceiling, letting the head drop, looking between the knees, pressing the shins and the tops of the feet into the floor, and then pulling the low belly in. Press the floor away with the palms. This is our exhale if we're going faster, but again, we're breaking it down to take as many breaths as you can. And as you do that, feel how the position of your body changes depending on how much air is inside of it. All right, let's move it a little faster. Take the inhale, drop down into a U for cow pose. Inhale. Exhale, press the floor away, invert. Take that N or cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. All right, come back to neutral. We'll do a little bit of thread the needle. So you're gonna, we'll do our left side first. So we're gonna plant right palm, same place as it's been, right under the right shoulder. And we're going to sweep left arm up, stacking left shoulder over right shoulder and arm. Inhale, big. And then on your exhale, you're just going to curve the left arm underneath the torso, passing behind the right wrist on the floor. And it's going to scoot out directly to your right until your left shoulder finds a place on the floor. You can keep the right palm where it was, or you can kind of walk it further back in line with the face. Keep pressing the back side of your left arm and hand into the floor. You can also walk these right fingertips straight out in front of you, working to straighten the left arm. Take a few breaths and just feel how those breaths in this shape create sensation. Where do you feel it? You might also work to pull both hips over to the left. I tend to kind of sag over to my right when I'm on this side, so I pull my hips over to the left slightly so I'm approaching center. Whew. And I will really feel my right side body stretching and all the little muscles there. Keep pressing into the back of the left hand, and if you have your right palm out in front of you, press into that right palm. Looking onto your right shoulder. Gaze gradually going up towards the ceiling. And if you're confused about what's going on with your head here, I am so sorry for not walking you through that first, but you are really just allowing some weight. It's like a tripod between your shoulders, head, and knees. And I guess one hand, two hands. But with the hips in the sky, a little bit of weight can rest on the back left side of your skull, okay? So you don't want to feel this in your neck. You do, see if you can rotate, find something different that feels a little bit better. But I have a straight neck. It just happens to be tilted, so I'm looking over to the right. All right, we're gonna walk ourselves out of here. So if you have extended right arm, bend the elbow, plant the right hand by the face. And we're gonna come through center. Left arm just comes to cross back towards the middle of the body, finding that tabletop. And then we'll sweep left arm up and open. Press the floor away, right hand. And exhale, come back down through tabletop. All right, let's do one cat-cow just to even out. So drop the belly, gaze and tailbone go up. Inhale. Exhale, invert for cat. Low belly in, spine goes up, head and tailbone go down. All right, come back to neutral spine. This time we're gonna plant left palm on the ground. Sweep right arm up and open, right shoulder stacks over left. Getting super tall. And our exhale, we curve right arm under the torso behind the right wrist. And it continues directly to the left, shooting out of the left shoulder. So we lay our right shoulder and the right side, backish side of our skull on the ground softly. Hips are in the air. And you can stamp that left hand on the outside of the face, pressing the floor away with the back side of the right arm and right hand. And if you have the left hand palmed on the floor, press the floor away with the left palm too. Or you can walk left fingers forward to straighten out the left arm. Gaze is under the left armpit, up towards the ceiling. Again, on this side, my hips tend to go out towards the left, so I'm gonna try to shift them back towards center. So it feels like I'm pulling them over to the right, but I know it's just an exaggerated feeling. I can see that my right hip is kind of stacked. It's not my left hip, I mean, the actual left hip bone is kind of hovering in the air right over my left knee, so feels more dramatic than it is in my body at least, but definitely feel good sensation opening up the spine. Again, just a reminder for your focus. Our one suggestion for a focus option is just to feel sensation of breath coming in and out on the body. And here I like to focus on the low belly and the ribs. In a twist, we are compressing the area available for holding the breath. We're twisting up the vessel that holds the breath. So it's interesting to see how we experience that little challenge. Hand. One more breath. Alright, return the right palm on the outside of the face. Turn the torso to face the floor. Sweeping the right arm up overhead. And replacing right hand on the ground. Take a cow. Belly drops. Gaze, tailbone lift. And exhale, press the floor away. Find your cat. Do one more. Inhale, cow. Exhale for cat. Scoot the knees wide to the edges of the mat. Bring the toes together and sit the heels back towards the feet. Locking hands forward, away from the face. Let the head be heavy. Drawing the weight of the head and the neck down towards the floor. Maybe it finds its way there, maybe it doesn't. Feel heavy in the hips, encouraging them to come down to meet the feet. And now watch the upper back body. Inhale, feel the shoulder blades spreading. Exhale, relax. Just take one more watch. The breath inflate the back body, shoulder blades spread. Exhale, soften. A couple breaths here just on your own. Let the belly be soft. Feel the weight of your big bones. Heavy, long bones. Knees, shins, ankles, and feet. Elbows, shoulders, head. These are all of your touch points on the floor right now. Anchoring you to your source, your energetic inspiration. All right, walk the hands back towards the knees. Scoot those knees together. And we're going to stand up. So we'll come through a little squat position. So we'll do toe squat to start. Everyone's favorite. Just kidding. Maybe you like it. Toes are facing forward. You could have the inner edges of your feet touching, if you like. And I'll describe this as though we're going to clench the thighs and knees together. But if that's not happening for you, that's fine. Widen the feet, widen the legs. So we're working to draw everything into the midline, the lower body. We're raising up onto the balls of our feet. So onto the joints of the toes, the big joints. And we'll see our heels come up away from the floor as much as the stretch in the soles of our feet allow. So many people don't get their feet too far. They just don't like the flex. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't come naturally. Over many years, that might change. Just practice it if you can stand it. So for me, at least, when my heels are closer to the floor but off the floor, I feel intense stretch in my calves on the back side of my lower legs. I also feel intense stretch on my shins. So we all have different structural profiles, including our muscles and our tendons, and the placement of things like joints and heels will manipulate the sensation we experience. So just experiment a little bit with raising the heels up, dropping them down. Just stretching out the fronts and backs of your feet, waking up the toes, kind of sensing where your edges are. I'm also starting to get fatigued in my calf and shin muscles just from these little micro movements. I'm not, like a ballerina or world-class runner, so this is about as much action as these little muscles get. All right, let's take a break. Come down to the knees, untuck the toes. That was a little bit more tense than I expected. If you're judging me and saying I'm a wimp, bear with me. I need a little break. Give me a kick. Get away. All right, we're gonna come back into that toe stand. This time we're gonna work with the balance. So lift the heels away from the floor, hop onto the balls of the feet. And we're gonna lift one hand. Come here, Leonard. Come here. Come on. Go get it. Good girl. All right. Anyway, so we're gonna work with balance, I said. So we're gonna ground one hand on the floor. Let's do our left hand on the floor. So I'm on fingertips. I'm going to raise my right hand away from the floor. Okay, I'm going to rest it on my right thigh. I'm going to draw my knees together. I'm going to draw the inner lines of my feet and heels together. And I'm going to drop my knees closer to parallel with the floor. Or I guess, so my legs are more parallel with the floor. All right, so you can see then I'm going to experiment with taking that left hand away from the floor. So it really helps to draw everything, the lower body and the feet together. So we're approaching this balancing point. Maybe you'll get to a point where you can rest both hands on each thigh. Okay? It's okay. You'll see like maybe your chest goes forward, wobbles front and back, side to side. Just get used to the wobbles. See if you can accommodate it, react to it. Maybe you can work with drawing the hands more up in the air and get a little more balance that way. I don't know. It's up to you. We're drawing our knees down closer to the ground so we're parallel. All right, so we're drawing like a table. All right, sit back onto the butt. Kick those legs out in front of you. And then legs. A little bit of a bounce massage. All right, draw the soles of the feet together. Hold them in close to the groin, knees out to the side. If it feels good to you, you can grab the pillows, put them on the outsides of the knees. A little support under the thighs, especially if the knees hurt. If you are just letting them float like this, take a moment to do what will be supportive for you and will prevent you from getting hurt. But we're just going to work in this Baddha Konasana, or cobbler pose or bound ankle pose. So reach down towards your feet. You might catch your shins or your ankles. Hold the chest upright. So the same thing as in the beginning. Feel like you're pulling up out of your head, but keeping the hips super heavy and grounded. I'll gradually straighten the spine out. Just going to start tilting forward. Using the strength of the outer hips. Open up the thighs. And if your elbows can find a place on your thighs, press them down into it. Again, that's only if your elbows are on the thighs, in the meat. If they're touching your knees, don't press into them. Protect your joints. Hips are still heavy, still working to keep a straight spine. Maybe gravity will help us over time. That the angle of the spine is kind of straightening and becoming parallel with the floor someday. Sense the work of gravity, the passive work of gravity on the outer legs, causing them to open like two covers of the book, front and back. And then just give up. Let the shoulders and the upper back slump and curve over. Let the head be heavy. Give it a shake side to side. The elbows find the floor if possible. Definitely not necessary.
allowing yourself to live for a moment in a little cave. Again, bring that attention back to the passive force of gravity. Feel it now drawing your head down towards the ground, straightening your neck. Not straightening, but lengthening your neck, even though it may be curved. Still feeling it pulling the thighs open. Take 3 more breaths. Maybe you can walk the hands forward slightly. Always keeping the hips heavy and grounded. Maybe puff up in the upper back like we did before. All right.
Grab the outer edges of the legs, out with the hands, and pull them up together. All right, I'm going to extend my legs out. You can too, just for a little break on the hips and the knees. All right, now we're going to do a different type of squat. So come forward. Your feet are parted this time, and we're going to walk them out more towards the edge of the mat so toes can point. Let's say like 10 and 2, like you're grabbing steering wheel. But it may be a different angle, but toes pointed out, heels are closer together. Look down at your feet. You may benefit from having a block, something to sit on. Give yourself a little support if you don't like the feeling of having everything all suspended in the air. Sit down between the feet with the pelvis covering. And let's bring the elbows, the upper arms, or the forearms on the inner line. You can straighten them. They can be bent and in prayer, so you have more like elbow to thigh, elbow to knee. And we're working to press the legs open to help lower the pelvis and straighten the spine. So working to approach head floating over hips, which is impossible in most bodies. So you're probably going to have some kind of a diagonal. And that works too. I mean, it better work because that's where I think probably most of us are at. And just let your hips be the heaviest thing, but still draw up through the spine, out the top of the head, keeping the long, long spine. Close your eyes down, keep pressing the elbows out into the legs, but then grip them by pulling the thighs inward on them, all right? So we have, it's like the clamshells trying to close, but you have these elbows, these pesky elbows in the way, preventing them from closing. Pull the low belly in, and then pull up on the pelvic floor. Those deep muscles down in the pelvic area, which helps stop pee if you don't have a toilet to pee into, but you really gotta go. To feel everything in your low body or in your lower torso kind of cinch up, starting from that deepest layer. Don't forget to breathe. Keep pushing the elbows into the thighs, keep pulling the thighs into the elbow. Shrug the shoulders down away from the ears, draw them down. All right, lower the hands onto the floor, shift the hips up, straightening the legs, feet are still wide as the mat, and let the head hang. Maybe your hands find the floor, and you can kind of rock forward into them, just working to straighten and lengthen the backs of the legs. The head be heavy, again, you can shake it out. Shift the weight forward into the toes and then rock back into the heels, just sensing how that changes the stretch on the body. All right, we're going to roll up, bring the bend to the knees, sweep, or I guess drag the arms up the front line of the body, gradually bringing the torso upright, shrug the shoulders up to the ears, pull the shoulder blades together on the back, Roll the shoulders down, palms face forward. Press the hips forward, engaging the glutes. Pull the kneecaps up towards the face, engaging the muscles of the legs. Pull the low belly in, pull the low ribs in. Feel the shoulders floating over the hips. Feel the head floating over the shoulders. Press the feet into the floor. Maybe even bringing a gentle bend to the legs helps. Right, so we're not sitting on the floor, we're not sitting on our feet, we're pressing the floor away, lifting up out of our feet. All right, let's walk the feet together, more or less in the center of the mat. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, walk hands to shins, press them away, straighten the back, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the palms. We're going to step right leg back. Into runner's lunge, shift forward and back, pushing out through our right heel. Hands are grounded, we're on blocks or books. Just trying to get some length in the back. Plant right palm sweep, left arm up over. So just as we did in our thread the needle, stacking left arm, left shoulder over right shoulder. Keeping hips low, keeping pressing out of the right heel. Return left palm to the mat. Sink the right knee down towards the mat, okay? So your knee might be super far in like this. That is all good. It's fine. All we're going to do is straighten our front leg coming into half split, okay? So we're pulling both hips back. So on this side, left leg is straight, left toes are flexing back towards our face. And it's probably helpful to pull the left hip back, and you'll feel that outer line of the left leg turn on, as well as the back, of course. Back side, you mean, back side of the left leg. Just gonna hold here for a little bit. You can get the fingertips, you can walk them closer towards you. Again, if you have books or blocks, stack them up. Since we were working with balance before, let's try it out here, all right? So we're going to work with this kind of scissoring action, which means pulling the right hip forward, pulling the left hip back, cinching everything together. Press into that front heel, pull the left toes back towards the face, pull the low belly in, and float the hand. Comfortable with wobbling. All right, try not to lock the knee so you can have a bend in the knee. That'll definitely help you out with balance. It'll help you respond to the wobbles. Press the right knee forward like you're dragging it in the floor, and then pull the left heel back. Whew. All right, return the hands back to the mat. Sink forward into your runner's lunge, sinking into that left foot, and let the hips be heavy. All right, untuck the back toe, that's your right foot. I'm just gonna heel toe your left foot out towards the edge of the mat, out towards the left side of the mat, and move our left hand on the inside of that left foot. So we're coming into lizard lunge right now. So hands are planted on the floor under each shoulder. So it's just like a lunge, just with a wider base. You can stay like this. You can retuck the back toes and lift the knee. It's a little more active. You get the benefit of gravity pulling down on the hips, which can open this underside, this right hip flexor a little bit more. Also encourages you to work the hamstrings, glutes, press the floor away with those palms. Work to straighten the arms. If you don't like that, I don't blame you. You can keep everything untucked and long. And you can kind of sink down into your hands. So you can bend the elbows, bringing the chest towards the floor a little bit. You can come down onto elbows and forearms, as long as you are not letting anything crazy happen with the hips, all right? So more or less, both hips are still facing forward and down. And then you can either look forward with a long neck, all right? Press into the top of the foot, big toe on the right side. Or you can really just sink on down, let the head fall, lengthening the back of the neck. All right, walk yourself back up on your hands if you weren't already. Kick the right foot towards the right butt, right side butt. And press the right foot around the right hand. I'm going to send left arm forward, thumb facing up. It's going to open and reach back towards your right foot. And catch is at the outer edge of your right foot. So maybe you can look back at it and you can see your thumb is in that like meaty toe mound area. Your hands are on the pinky toe side of your foot. You're going to pull that foot towards your butt. Now press the floor away with that grounded palm. And maybe you can lift the hips up towards the foot. So you can choose that, or you can let the hips sink. Keep pulling the hand. Pulling the right foot towards the seat, even as the seat sinks. Get a nice bend in your left elbow, and you're looking towards your left, maybe your left shoulder, and you can let the left knee bow open. Keep grounded in the left foot. Couple breaths. This is tough. All right, release the foot, release the hand. Come back to face forward. Holy cow. All right, we're going to take brief movement back through the half split. So you're going to shift your hips up and back. Keep your left foot up, okay? And try to keep your toes grounded. So we're stretching the top of the left foot, straightening left leg. Left leg is kind of at diagonal. This feels a little different, okay? Press down into the top of your right foot, right shin, round your left palm. You're just going to sweep right arm open. All right, it's a little funky. I don't even really know how to describe this. It's kind of like a revolved triangle, except we're opening instead of revolving. I don't know that it's that important that we name it, especially since I made it up. But we get to play with a little balance. How do we address wobble? Get to open up the inner thigh, the inner line of the left leg. Open the collarbones, pulling that right shoulder up and back. And open up this right side body. And lastly, drape right arm forward over the right ear. All right, close it on up, bringing the shoulders to face down to the mat. Walk your left foot towards the center of the mat. So we're in a good old regular runner's lunge. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee and the hips away from the floor, plant the palms, step left foot back to meet right, hold in this plank. We'll go 10, 9, 8, press the floor away, 6, 5, pull the belly in, 4, 3, 2, 1, bend the knees, shift the hips back like you're a crouching tiger, look forward and hop up towards the front of the mat. Forward fold, sway the hips, straighten one leg and bend the other, alternate. All right, let's do this other side. Roll up, roll shoulders down, present the palms forward. Again, bring that spring to your feet and your knees. Press the floor away. Push the hips forward. Pull the lower ribs in. Pull up through the back of the head. All right, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, walk the hands to the shins. Straighten for halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant the palms. This time, step your left foot back, coming into runner's lunge, rocking forward and back, other side. Come to stillness, we'll plant left palm. Twisting open, looking up over your right arm. Keeping hips low. Keep pushing out of the left heel this time. Return, right palm to the mat. Drop your left knee. So Runner's lunge here. We're going to shift back into our half split. So untuck back toe, shift hips up and back, straightening right leg, flexing right toes back towards the face. On our fingertips, maybe blacks. Slight bend to this right knee. Pull right hip back, send the left hip forward. Pull the low belly in. So practice the scissoring action. So we just walk through the hips, which is pull right hip back, send left hip forward, feel the feet scrubbing, all right? So I'm gonna tuck my back toes on my left foot so I can feel my right heel digging in, pulling back towards me. And I can feel my left knee on the floor pulling forward. All right. Work with the balance here. So engage the scissors, that's your base. And then maybe lift the hands away from the floor. Staying as sturdy as you can. That doesn't mean you're still, it just means that you're responsive to moving. All right. All right, we can come back down. All right, one more moment. Flex the toes back towards the face. Pull the right hip back one more time. All right, lunge forward into the right knee. Heel toe, right foot over towards the right edge of the mat and replace the right palm on the inside of the right foot. You can stay here nice and low, lizard lunge. Palms are under the shoulders. You can reach up the back toe, lift the hip and knee away from the floor on the left leg. Shift forward and back, opening up the hip flexor left side, help with gravity. Again, a reasonable person doesn't like this, it's okay. Drop the knee down to the floor, untuck the toes. You can stay here. You can bend the elbows, lowering the chest down towards the floor. You can come down onto forearms. You can keep a long neck, long spine. I guess in theory that's ideal. This doesn't feel good. I don't see the harm in letting your head hang. All right, after a couple breaths, walk back up onto your hands. All right, this is the worst part, right? So we're going to plant our left palm into the floor, straight left arm. Cycle our right arm up and open, palm faces out, pulling our chest open. We're gonna kick our left foot towards our left seat. Maybe our hand catches it, the foot. Nope, the right, over the right shoulder. And we can either bring our hips up to meet our foot, pull on the foot, bend that right elbow, pull the right shoulder open, or we can sink the hips down. And maybe we can bring the foot with us. It's a journey, it is a process. You can stay open in the chest like this, or you can rotate everything the face forward. Oh my God. Kick the foot into the hand, pull with the hand, bring the foot close to the seat. All right, release. Holy cow. Bring everything back into your little lizard lunge. We're going to take a moment in that strange half split. So shift hips up and back, keeping right foot towards the outer edge, right outer edge of your mat. And try to keep the toes down on your mat. So we're stretching the top of the right foot, right shin. Walk the palms closer to you as well if you like. Again, if you have blocks or books, this is a great time to do it if you feel like the floor is way too far away. All right, plant your right palm on the inner edge of your right foot, inside your right foot. We're going to take our little open twist other side. So I'm going to turn my back to you. I'm sorry. I'm going to lift left arm up and back. Press into the toe of that right foot. Pull with the left fingers. Up into the sky, left shoulder stacking over right, but still lifting up, lifting up. And then maybe you turn the left palm to face towards the computer, thumb towards the ceiling, and the left upper arm over left ear. One more breath. All right, return everything to face down to the mat, lunge forward, heel toe that right foot towards the center, underneath you coming into traditional runner's lunge, retuck the back toes, lift the knee, plank palms, step right foot next to left, 10 seconds in this plank, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower knees, toes together, shift the hips back for child's pose. Take a few breaths. Let the heaviness of your head encourage the rest of you to relax, draw back down towards the floor. All right, we're going to roll onto our backs. I had a glass of water, there it is. I'm gonna take a little sip of water. You are more than welcome to do the same. We are at about time. So I'm gonna take us through a quick twist and then I'll leave you for Shavasana. It can be as long as you like. So roll onto the back, knees face up, bring the shins parallel to the floor. The arms be heavy, spread out like wings, just directly out from the shoulders. Lower the bent knees over to the right side. If they don't quite make it to the floor, here's a good time to shove a blanket or pillow underneath them. Or if you're comfortable with it, you can let gravity work on you. So even if the hips and the knees are floating, I'll let gravity work, gradually pulling them down. That might not feel great, so having a bolster or pillow underneath is a good halfway step. Stay heavy in the left shoulder, so both face up towards the ceiling, and let the gaze go to the left palm. Take 5 slow breaths here. Closing down the eyes, slowing down the breath. Getting more intimate with the floor. All right, bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. You can keep the eyes closed. Engage the belly. We're going to pull knees up over to float over the hips. And now let them fall over to the left. This time, let the right shoulder stay heavy. Both shoulders facing up towards the ceiling. Gaze drapes towards the right hand. 5 slow breaths this side. Those big bones, heavy bones, drawing you down out of the ether, out of the clouds, back down. Once we came into and through the mat and into the earth. Turn the direction of the gaze towards the ceiling. Pull the legs up overhead. Straighten them for a moment. Pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. Engaging all the muscles of the legs. Press the low back into the floor. Pull the low belly in. Flex the feet. Flex the toes back down towards the face. Kick out through the heels. And let the knees bend, let the soles of the feet come to the floor. You can let the soles stay wide towards the edges of the mat. Let the knees drape in towards one another, knock together. Take your final rest like this. Or you can walk those legs out, straightening them, letting the big toes drape out towards the pinky toe edge of the feet. letting the legs, feet, hips roll open. Take one big deep breath in together, so we'll pull it in through the nose and exhale out the mouth. I want you to make some noise on the exhale. So inhale through the nose, pull it deep into the belly. Feel your chest puff up, your ribs. Feel that big, hold inhale, pushing the floor away on the back side of the lungs. And exhale out the mouth. Falling into your body, falling into the support below you. Relax the hands, the elbows, the shoulders. Surrender the head, pelvis, the wrists and the ankles to the ground below. The belly be soft. Just watch the chest bob in the waves of the breath. The high mark is the inhale, the low mark is the exhale. Watching the pace of the tide slow. Letting your attention go with it.